Hey, everybody. If you like what we're doing here, you can help our podcast grow by liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing. Thank you. Jason, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Really
Doing
good.
all right, sir.
It's nice to get you on finally. I think I've been talking about trying to get you on for, I don't know,
Couple months.
like at least 6 months. I think I've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's good to be on finally.
Yeah. It's been a long time. I don't think I've seen you in almost 2 years now. I think
Yes.
last time we ran into each other was 259.
59, yeah, down there in Idaho in the heat.
Yeah, it was summer certainly. Yeah, it was. I remember that. Man. But that was a fun shoot.
Some people crammed into an apartment with no AC.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a movie in itself right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like an escape room film. Yeah.
So, Jason, I'm going to do a quick introduction, and then we'll dive into you for a while.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right,
Awesome.
ready to roll the music?
Let's do it. All right. Welcome to My Dad's Movie Podcast. I'm Mick Johnson. I am the dad. And with me, as usual, my son Tabor. And there he is.
Yeah, that's me. That little
That's your new intro?
That's my new intro. I'm going to open up my drink on.
That's great. Nice. So with us tonight, we actually have a special guest on, zooming in all the way. Now, I think you're in California.
I am in Seattle.
Seattle. Okay.
Yeah.
Zooming in from Seattle, we have Jason Brooks.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
So, Jason, you got started in filmmaking, but you started out in acting, didn't you?
I did.
Is that right?
I did a little acting, and back in 2004, 2005, I met a local filmmaker where I was doing his posters, basically, and started in graphic design when I really got into indie film. And pretty quickly, I transitioned from doing poster design, getting on set, doing some props and costume work. And at one point, he was like, "Hey, you're a really big guy. Do you want to be the monster?" And so I said, yes. And then that started my whole monster journey.
That started your monster career. Very
My
nice.
monster career, yeah. I fell in love with it. And so it, it stuck with me.
Nice.
That's cool. I think I had read actually. What did I read? Among your many credits, you also do costume performances, public appearances for Lucasfilms as Darth Vader.
I did. Yeah. There's a group called the 501st Legion that I joined back in like 1999. And they kind of got brought in by Lucasfilm. So I was playing Darth Vader at the time. So I got to do some appearances, get paid from Lucasfilm. That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Darth Vader.
That's great.
Several performances with Weird Al, going on stage with the Yellow Card, and some other bands doing events with Vans, shoes, and a ton of things.
Nice. Okay. I'm a huge fan of Darth Vader. I
Yeah.
freaking love Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And are you familiar with the 501st Legion?
I don't know anything about it.
They are, well, how about you tell us? You know
they're
way more about it than I do.
they're a worldwide organization made up of fans who do movie accurate costumes. They've got very strict rules about what can and cannot be used for membership there. And they basically do a lot of charity events, going out and raising money for various organizations. And I was working there back in the early 2000s, and that's around the time Steve Sansweet from Lucasfilm reached out and was like, "Hey, we've been keeping an eye on you." And Disney had just bought them, and they were like, "We want to bring you into the fold, bring you into the family, and make it official." And so then we got put into the books, into the canon, all kinds of things. It was great. So yeah, there's tens of thousands of members across the world.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you still playing Darth Vader, or has your schedule just gotten way too busy?
My schedule got crazy. I actually went through an injury several years ago and had really bad back. I'd have a couple surgeries. And so I kind of took a medical leave from it, and then when I got done with that, just started the acting and the filmmaking, and it's just been crazy. So I haven't gotten back to that. So
Oh,
my Vader's a little bit dusty.
that's that's too bad.
Yeah.
So, and you are also a Jason Voorhees as well, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
For Friday the 13th Vengeance series and Roseblood, Horrorverse, and yeah,
nice. I know Horrorverse sounds very familiar to me. I think that they're currently working on something right now, right?
they are. They're working on their last film. It's the Horrorverse. It's a Jason Voorhees Nightmares. So it brings in Jason, Freddy, Michael, and a
Okay.
bunch of others that I won't spoil yet. But yeah, they asked me to come and be Jason for that, and so those guys are a great bunch of people. So I did that.
right.
Yeah, I
So
don't know who.
CCC Entertainment.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but someone invited me to that group, and I joined in on Facebook, and I'm seeing all the updates and stuff, and so it's been really cool. I've been seeing little snippets of progress
Yeah,
here and there, so I'm excited to see what comes from that.
yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we got to do all the makeup and special effects on that as well. One of our team members, Michelle, or people know her as Michelle the Dead. She spent most of the time doing the makeup and effects for the movie, and then we came in, Naomi and I, for a few days, lent our hands and stuff, and did some of the effects as well. So, um, yeah, it was a good time.
So,
Yes.
so Jason, how long have you been involved in movies overall? Because it sounds like not just acting, but you're talking about makeup artistry and special effects, and I know that you're directing now.
Yeah,
So, what all do you have going on? It sounds like quite a bit.
I got a little bit of everything going on. Yeah, I started out with the graphic design, like I said, kind of on the back end, started making props because I got on set and they just didn't have props that looked, I thought, appropriate. So I was like, I can do better than that. Let me help you out.
Right.
And, but that, I'd say around 2002 is when it really kind of started. And started doing consistent work. And then, that led into a collaboration where I directed my first film. It was about a 45-minute short called Missing Girl, the Carrie Burke story, and which went on to win the New York Festival Audience Choice Award and some things like that.
Nice.
But so yeah, I kind of wrote and directed that one, and then took a long break because of life. And so then that same director pulled me back into it. God, 15 years later, he is like, "Hey, I really want to get you back out on set." He loves my creative eye when it comes to certain things, and wanted me to go work on a film he was now doing, which was called Attack of the Hand-Faced People, which was somewhat of an homage and parody of Night of the Living Dead. It was all shot in black and white, but instead of zombies, it had people running around going, like this, and uh, just kind of silly, but it was fantastic, and it caught the attention of quite a few people, and that kind of got me back into the world. And shortly after that is when I heard about the casting call for the Jason Voorhees on what was called Mythos at the time, and eventually turned into Vengeance.
Okay.
Right on.
So, I guess tell us a little bit about Vengeance. There's Vengeance 1 and Vengeance 2, correct?
Correct.
You played Jason in both.
I did.
Cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So Vengeance came about where it started off as Mythos, being filmed out in Idaho. And we got to do that. They tried to crowdfund the money, and it ended up not coming through. They just didn't have enough followers, a big enough voice yet to kind of collect the money they needed to make the film.
Mm.
So the director and I kind of sat together, decided, well, what should we do? People are commenting that they want a full feature, and so we might have to expand the story. What do we do? And we decided to go back to the name Vengeance, which was his original working title for Mythos, and I said, you wanted to do the father of Jason Voorhees' story, so why don't we just add that, Elias Voorhees, why don't we add that back into what Mythos is? And that would expand it to the feature. And then the conversation was, well, who do we get to play Jason Voorhees' father? So on a whim, We said CJ Graham. He played Jason in Part 6. This is a sequel to Part 6.
Yeah.
Why not get CJ out here? And so we did. It was a Friday the 12th when we wrote to him, and he we just had a beer and said, yeah, let's try it. So we did. CJ wrote back the next day on Friday the 13th and said, I'm in. This sounds great. Send over their letter of intent and everything. And then from that point, we were able to get Tom McLaughlin, who wrote and directed Part 6, to come in.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know, but at the end of the original Part 6, Jason's dad was supposed to be showing up to kind of like push a sequel, but Paramount didn't want to commit to having a father story or anything like that. So it just never got made, but there's storyboards out there. So we asked Tom McLaughlin, do you mind if we start our sequel to your movie with that scene in the graveyard? And he thought it was a great idea. So we had Tom McLaughlin play the gravekeeper in that scene, and then CJ, of course, playing Elias. And that's how that whole thing went on. And then we were able to get Steve Dash, who played our sheriff. He was the Jason Part 2 with the sack on his head, and get a few more people involved in the project. And then it blew up. It got a lot of recognition, a lot of love from a lot of people, a lot of fans. And so it created the demand for the sequel. And by that point, the director, Jeremy Brown, from the first one was like, yeah, I'm burnt out. That was a lot. So he said, you're the person I trust to kind of take the reins and go forward, because I did quite a bit on the first one. So
Right on.
I wrote the second one, directed it, played Jason in it, and we were able to get CJ back. We were able to get Tom McLaughlin back, but this time we added Darcy DeMoss from Part 6. Played Nikki. We were able to get Tom Matthews, who plays Tommy Jarvis, and several other people from different horror franchises. So its reputation from the first one helped have these other folks like Tamara Glenn from Halloween 5 and Paul Taylor, who played Pinhead in Hellraiser Judgment.
Nice.
Richard Ramone from the Ramones, they were all excited to come be a part of it. So
It sounds like a family affair. You literally just gathered everyone who's still around and brought them back for.
we did, and we almost got Alice Cooper to come back.
Oh, that would have been
Because we had
wow.
Rob Mello, who's the babyface killer in Happy Death Day, came in and filled that role. But yeah, I went to Vegas and I talked to Alice Cooper and was like, hey, do you want to come and play this old, assistant to the gravekeeper with Tom McLaughlin, kind of get the band back together, because he did the music for Part 6, and he hasn't seen those guys forever, and so he thought that was a great idea, but his agent didn't think so. He's like, no, he's touring. He's going to be touring this year. No, not at all. We're not interested. So
the agent's the final boss.
I guess.
You got to get past them.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That, I mean, I haven't seen Vengeance 1 yet, but I did see Vengeance 2, and I saw Roseblood. I actually went to the Seattle premiere.
Oh, nice.
Roseblood. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So I got to hang out with you guys there, and I think I shook your hand. You had people swarming you, so I just shook your hand and said, congratulations, and then just let everybody talk to you. But
just back away.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's busy. Let him do his thing.
Hey.
Yeah, no, that was a good time. Roseblood. That's a sequel to Part 7, and that one brought the cast from Part 7 back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was a fun time. The cast and crew that you had was great. I mean. And when I say family, that's kind of what it's like. It was that premiere, even though I was not involved in the making of that film at all, I just went to the premiere. Cody just invited me along, and I went with him. And everyone seeing each other, I mean, it was like a family reunion. Everyone was like, oh, yeah. Hey, I'm from Idaho, you're from Seattle, but, we're best friends, and we love each other. And
that's what I've noticed that a lot. We've talked to several other directors and filmmakers and stuff on the show, and David Mitch Parks, and his name just escaped me.
Thomas Churchill.
Thomas Churchill, and it seems like when they're talking about the films that they're putting together and the people that they're using, it's very much this tight knit group of people that kind of are always there for you, and you guys work through movies and stuff. So
Oh
yeah, it
yeah,
seems very family like. Yeah.
it is. It's very family-like, and you just kind of grow together, move on together. You find the people that you work well with, that you love them, they love you, and it does have that family vibe. And then it starts to not feel like work. You just
Right.
feel like you're having a good time and hanging out with your friends and doing something you enjoy together and
Mm.
bouncing ideas off each other. And it just, yeah, it makes it fantastic.
Right on. So as a director, when we look at other directors that we talk about from movies and stuff, you always look them up and you find out, this is kind of what influenced them as a director and kind of why you find out why they went directions they went in their movies and stuff. And I was kind of curious, you as a director, what kind of director are you? What do you feel like has influenced in the styles that you kind of like?
That was something I discovered about myself actually after finishing The Death of Snow White. I I find myself liking to have fun when I go to a movie. I don't like to sit in the theater and be depressed for 2 hours. I don't, and
Right.
kind of feel gross and I leave. So I always tell people when I'm working on the films or writing, I like a roller coaster where you have your ups and downs. If it's just like all dark and moody, you're just down here all the time. Uh,
Right.
or if it's always, up here, I want to bring you down. So when I do something that is like, the Friday the 13th Vengeance 2 or Snow White, you'll see that there's a lot of dark moments, but there's also some humor and some stuff where we don't take ourselves seriously to kind of bring you up, let your guard down, then we drop the floor out, let you crash. And I feel like that swing, that emotional swing, really
Right.
is what's fun for me when I go to movies. And so I started realizing after Snow White that I I'm very much influenced by the old 80s action and adventure movies. So like the Indiana Jones movies. You got
Oh
all
yeah.
that adventure, there's like a lot of serious moments, but there's a lot of fun. Um, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal,
Oh yeah.
Neverending Story, like those types of things where you have this adventure and of course Star Wars. Star
Yeah.
Wars is a big one too.
Oh yeah.
There's like some heavy stakes in there and some serious moments and things, but there's also a lot of humor and in characters. So uh,
Right.
there's a lot of influence I can see in that, especially in Snow White, where everything with the Queen was very serious and very grounded and very gritty. But then when you have Snow White and Friends and the Prince, it's not as serious. You have
Right.
these two worlds, and then when they come together, then these guys better get serious. So uh, that's kind of what I've learned about myself, kind of watching my own work.
Yeah.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
So is the Death of Snow White, is that kind of your first big thing that
Yes,
you
outside of the Vengeance too,
okay.
which was quite a big production with a lot of cast members and people. And it was a SEG production, so that big old pain, had to deal with. But
Really?
yeah, the Death of Snow White was my biggest.
Right on. Yeah, my wife and I, so everybody knows, I think almost every episode I'll talk about that like horror is not really my thing. I never really get into those types of things. Tabor loves horror.
Mhm.
I'm a typical dad, it's okay. Maybe I'll watch it. But my wife and I, we actually went to the theater when Death of Snow White was coming out, and there was a lot of people in there, and it was very charged. The crowd was very charged,
Oh, wonderful.
and the movie was, I felt like, was fantastic, and it was exactly what you're describing. It was extremely up and down. There was a lot of stuff in there that was like serious and kind of brought you down into this serious mood, and then all of a sudden you've got these antics going on with
Yeah.
the little people actors and
Yeah.
stuff, you know so it was a lot of fun is what it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Did you guys have a premiere for that here in Boise, or was that just in Seattle?
No, we only had the premiere in LA.
Oh, you had it in L.A. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we had it at
Nice.
the Harmony Gold Theater down there.
Nice.
Sold that theater out, and Had a big deal down there, so that was pretty
That's
exciting.
incredible. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. What made you choose LA?
I think there was a few things. There was working with the distributor, working with PR. Some of
Okay.
our acting people were from LA, and some of our producers were LA. So it was just one of those things where it's like, hey, let's make a big deal out of it. It's getting a Regal Cinemas run, and we had high hopes for a lot of things. So it's like, let's just do it up, and
Yeah.
yeah, we went down there.
Yeah. So you mentioned your distributor. What goes into distribution for an indie film? Because I always like to find out all the movie, because you don't just go out and make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's all sorts of things that you have to do. I mean, just production alone is this big giant beast, but then you run into distribution. You know, you made this movie. This movie's finished, edited, ready to go.
Now you want it to go somewhere.
Yeah, how do you get it out to people? So, what was your plan of action for distribution for Death of Snow White?
Yeah, there's a lot, and depending on the type of movie too. I think I've been through several different experiences with distribution. So for Snow White specifically, we just started reaching out. We had several distributors and sales agents reach out to us and who were interested. Once they found it online, a lot of people wanted it and then they wanted to represent it. And so we got a lot of offers, a lot of really terrible offers. There's a lot of sharks out there who want to give you $1 and, nothing else. And
Right.
then try to tell you that this is all it's going to ever do. So, you just take this deal and they want 30% off the top of anything it earns before anyone else. So we ended up finding Shaked with a horror collective, Entertainment Squad, and all that. And he came in with the best offer. He's a great guy, great company, and very transparent, which we were looking, being our first time going in this direction with distribution, we did want that transparency. And so he's been very good at staying transparent with numbers and with what we're doing, being very collaborative and the marketing and helping with that as well. So those are things that were very important to us. Um, the theater distribution was very different. We went with an aggregator and decided to try to self-distribute that way. And the thing with that is you do a lot of your own marketing. And so if you don't have millions of dollars to tell the world, hey, go to the theater, then people don't learn about your film.
Right.
But it is extremely political. And the other uh, theaters get nervous when you have a movie about Snow White around the same time Disney has one out. And so
Yeah.
we definitely got the word back that, hey, we don't want to piss off Disney. So we have to make
Yeah.
sure that we can't bring your film in. And one theater actually said, yeah, we brought it up to our agent over there, or our salesperson, and they didn't say we couldn't play it, but they said it'd be a shame if you didn't get the next Star Wars movie. So there's things like that
Oh.
that happen, and so you have this uphill battle to fight sometimes. But then there's other distribution options that we've had where you make a film, distributor buys it, like with Epic, they bought Diced from that director. We have 7th Street we work with a lot who has partnerships with like Breaking Glass, and they'll throw some money towards getting a film made. And so we get to make some of those sometimes. So there's a lot of different options depending on the business model of that distributor.
Okay.
So how did Death of Snow White? How did it end up coming about? I know you wrote it,
Mhm.
and there was somebody else with you that wrote it.
Naomi, my partner Naomi.
Yeah. How did you guys kind of come to this? We want to make a Snow White movie.
So Sean Lutzis was our executive producer, and his daughter is actually the one who plays Snow White. And he came to me one day, and Cody and Peter, and said, "Hey, my family's sitting around the table. We're just talking about the Disney Snow White, and my daughter-in-law said that Sanaya should play Snow White for them." And they're like, "Yeah, they'll never choose a no name, for that role."
Yeah.
But there was so much issue and controversy about Rachel Ziegler at the time. So then the sister-in-law said, "Well, you make movies. Why don't you just make one?" And he's like, "Yeah, okay, I don't know, whatever." But then thought about it and was like, "Hey, why don't we?" So he contacted the three of us and said, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" And then I kind of got nominated out of everyone because Cody was still in the middle of 259. Peter was working on something else, and I was working on my thing. But it was like they all said, I think Jason will be the best one for this. And I said, all right, let me think about it. So I came back to Sean and I said, well, yeah, I'll put my stuff aside and I'll work on this, but it's got to have a darker horror edge to it. And he said, well, of course, I wouldn't expect anything less from you. So I said, all right. So Naomi and I locked ourselves in my office here for a good week, knocked out a kind of a storyline, ran it by a few people. They loved it, and then just wrote it. And we kind of fell in love with the idea of it as we progressed and kind of connected the dots. And we really wanted to tell a story that hasn't been told yet in a way that hasn't been told,
Yeah.
and all still being true to the original Grimm Brothers story, which is very short. So we took the Grimm Brothers story and said, how do we expand this into a feature? What are the things that we want to explore? And so one thing I want to explore is why is the queen, the evil queen, why is she the way she is? And then also the kiss. That was also something very controversial because they took it out in the Disney version, and they weren't going to have a prince kiss Snow White or anything anymore. And I was like, well, that's pretty important to the story, but maybe we can give it more meaning. So we did that as well, and explored how can we give that more meaning and what does this mean to sacrifice, yourself for true love or the kiss of true love. What does that mean? And so that's where, and Cody did a great job of pushing us to our limits and like asking, well, why, what's
Right.
your theme? And so we realized our theme was sacrifice. Once, we got in there and realized every character has some sort of sacrifice story to their arc and to what's being told in the movie, from the prince and Snow White and the dwarves, and everyone is the queen, sacrificing pain and all kinds of things for beauty. There's everyone in there has some form of sacrifice that they have
Right.
put into it. So yeah. So we got it done, and people seem to like the story, so we're greenlit to go
Nice.
forward.
Yeah.
Nice. There you
So
go.
yeah, I love the idea of when you see a bad guy like the evil queen, right?
Mhm.
And that's just all it is. They're just the bad guy.
Yeah.
I like the idea of why are they the bad guy? They weren't just born the bad guy,
Mhm.
right? What's the backstory on them? And the other thing that I think is really cool is all of these characters that were in this movie. I think they were developed really, really well to the point where I think you could probably take just about any character that was in this show and create its own story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. We did. Naomi and I sat down and we really asked, why is this character here? And why are they important to the film? Can we combine them with someone else? And once we established who we had, we went back through and like, well, where did they come from? Even Snow White's friends who died pretty quickly, we had backstories of where they came from, who they are, what they do in their off time,
Right.
and all the way through. And we had stories. So it's like, man, we have enough content here to make a sequel or a prequel. There are all
Yeah.
kinds of, especially the
Right.
dwarfs. We spent a lot of time on the dwarfs, and even working with a few of the actors to come up with histories and backstories of who they are and their character and why they are here now and what they sacrificed to survive in the forest after being banished. And so there's quite a bit of rich storytelling left that we had either cut from our original version and we didn't get to show due to time, or that we have in notes just to make sure that we're true to everyone's personality in the film.
Right on. Hmm. Cool.
So you say sequel. Is there a sequel in the works already? Or
There's a concept for a sequel. There's
okay.
a outline for a sequel, but it really depends on how well the movie continues to do. So if we get more eyes on it and more people, excited, we just got to find that right kind of viral moment for the right person to see it and get it out there so that we can get that traction and momentum. So it's doing really nice and steady right now, but it's not,
Okay.
it doesn't have the hockey stick that we,
Yeah.
we would need to make a sequel. But the
Right.
sequel storyline is ready, and the distributor was excited as well, saying, he thought TV series.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh, wow.
it could do really well for a TV series, especially building a story around the dwarfs, which is what I would like to tell as well. Like go back in time and why they were banished, what
Mhm.
happened after they were banished, um, and tie that all into the movie we saw.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There are tons of stories that can come out of this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you chose Snow White, and luckily Snow White is in public domain.
uh-huh.
I wanted to get your opinion on all this like giant gold rush of public domain horror movies that are coming out.
Yeah,
I think, I don't know. Sometimes I feel it's a little gimmicky, but I mean, there's some people who are really putting some good, thought and ideas behind the movies that they're putting out, and I wanted to know what's how you feel about all these, because you probably know a lot of the people that are releasing these films, because they're
yeah,
all kind of like this same little indie tight knit community.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, I know a few of them, and I mean, there's pros and cons to it. I think one, it's introduced a new genre of horror, which is great because that doesn't happen very often. So there's always going to be the zombies and the vampires and the werewolves. Now there's IP,
okay,
and some people just hate it because it's like, you're ruining my childhood. And
yeah,
but I think part of that is, and part of what made ours successful when they see it, everyone assumes it's just a cash grab, throwaway. Oh, okay, Snow White's going to go kill a bunch of people in the woods, and that's kind of been the pattern, and the kind of the template that people have used is, okay, let's take Popeye and make him a killer, and let's
yeah,
take Bambi and make Bambi kill everyone. Let's
yeah,
take Winnie the Pooh and now he's a killer,
yeah,
and so that's what people expected of our movie.
yeah,
And when they finally sit down and watch it, they're like, oh my God, this is not what I expected. This actually has heart. You're telling a story, and
yeah,
so a lot of our reviews kind of center around that. And so on one hand, it gets some people to watch it because they think, okay, I'm going to go watch a slasher Snow White.
Right.
Um, and the other hand, we lose people because they're like, I'm not going to watch some cheap knockoff slasher Snow White. So
yeah.
the getting the word out of what it really is has been our big goal.
Okay,
But also in a lot of markets, it's kind of dropping. The interest in some of those movies are kind of fading. And
okay,
so that was one thing. We came out around the same time as another one. I won't mention, but it was struggling because a lot of countries paid a lot of money to get that movie. And then as soon as they got it, it failed. And they never made their money back. And so when ours came out a week or two later, they were like, oh no, IPs are dead now. So we can't buy this one because this one failed. But it's like, but it's such a different movie. It's not the same thing.
Right.
They just look at it as, a skew. They don't look at it as for what it is. So,
yeah,
but no, I appreciate it. And I think it's going to be here for the long haul. There's always going to be new IPs, that
okay,
get released into the public. And I think it is just going to evolve to become something different where people will do something like Snow White or the Cinderella Ugly Stepsister one or something, um, where it becomes different and it's not just the same rinse repeat slasher
yeah.
template.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I did notice a lot of those movies popping up, and I kind of wanted to see, what your take on that was, and I haven't seen any of the others. I've seen Snow White, and that's it. So my opinion on those movies is literally just based off of your movie.
Oh,
I didn't go see the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and I didn't go see Popeye the Slayer Man and stuff like that.
yeah,
That's a real movie, Dad.
Okay.
I'm not making that up.
it is. It
Um,
is. I've worked with a couple people that worked on the Popeye the Slayer Man movie.
nice.
You could
Okay.
And
you could
then
you could probably take just about anything and turn it into some sort of Slayer movie.
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what we didn't want to do. And that I told Sean too, is like, I don't want to just make a cash grab. We entertained that thought at first. Like, well, what if we just make a cheap little quick movie, make Sanaya Snow White, have her kill some people, do whatever, you know, and that was something we thought of. And then once we got into it, I was like, no, I can't, it's just not who I am. So we went the other direction. But
Okay.
yeah, but Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the composer who Andrew Scott Bell, who did the music for that, which was beautiful in the movie. The score was one of the best things about it. He's the one who did our score for Snow White.
Oh, right
Oh,
on.
nice. Yeah, I love the
Yeah,
music in Snow White.
yeah, I love it too. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought it kind of immersed you in the movie. There was parts where I kind of forgot that I was listening to music because it just kind of pulled me into the
It
movie.
came.
And I kind of feel like if I wasn't a filmmaker, that I probably wouldn't have noticed the music at all. Because when I'm watching a movie, I'm looking for cinematography, I'm looking for music. And so because I was consciously looking for music, there was times I'd be like, oh, there's the music. But if I wasn't a filmmaker, I was just somebody just watching this movie, that music just kind of like wraps over you like a blanket and just kind of pulls you into the movie.
Right.
And you don't, when you're wrapped in a blanket, you're not really thinking about, oh, I'm wrapped in a blanket. You're just keeping yourself warm. And that's kind of what the music does. It just kind of wraps you in, and you kind of just are in the movie now.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of just keeping you there. So
And that was something in my directing style as well. When we were editing, I had a lot of battles with our sound mixer, in post, where the current trend is to keep your background music in the far background and just have it kind of there as almost like a little low drone or ambience and stuff. And so the first mix came in and all the music was just very low. And I was like, no, bump it up. And he's like, what? No, it's already loud. And I said, well, I'm hearing footsteps during a battle. I don't want to hear footsteps. I want to hear the music.
Right.
And because it's going back to Indiana Jones and Star Wars and stuff, where it's very John Williams music driven, it's a character. And I said, and I want it to be a character. I don't want it to be a background actor. So we just kept bumping it up, and my notes were consistently like louder music, louder music. Like, I put every little chink of armor and every little ting of the sword and footsteps and everything, and did all this work on sound design, and it's being covered by the music. And I was like, oh, put the music first next time.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was something that I think also helps bring back that 80s nostalgia from the fantasy action movies back then that I loved, was having music drive, a lot of the storytelling as well. So
yeah. And I felt that. So
thank
I
you.
mean, mission accomplished there.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Yeah. So not to steer away from Snow White,
Well,
but
then don't do it.
okay. You mentioned Diced,
Yeah.
and that's something I wanted to talk to you while we had you here. So tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah. So Diced is a movie written and directed by a guy named Jeremy Rudd. Originally, we were in touch with him about doing just the special effects and the character design. And while we were going on about that, we're just like, okay, we have to have these prosthetics and do all this stuff. We're going to create the look for him. By the way, who are you going to cast? And he's like, oh, we haven't cast the Benny, the Scarecrow yet. We're looking for someone who's like 6'5", 240 pound, character actor. And I said, I am a 6'5", 240 pound character actor. And I said, and we have me. We can build the prosthetics on me. We could do the test. We don't have to schedule some other guy. Also, when we build all the kills and the effects in the movie, I know how they work, so I can make sure they move the right way, they tear open the right way, that everything operates the way it's intended. And so he thought that was a great idea, and so got myself the role, and we built the effects for the movie and executed it. And then it only turned out to be about 60 minutes long, but it kind of went viral a little bit. And then Epic Films saw it. They and the CEO actually came down. We were filming extra bits for it, but Epic Films came and loved it and thought, hey, they liked the performance that I did as the character. They saw some potential in franchise options and opportunities, so they bought it and then shot an additional half hour of footage. And so flew me down to LA. We did several more kills. Joe Castro did the effects for that, and got to be Benny again. And then make it a full feature. And then they renamed it to Diced Reloaded. And the Reloaded is having the extra parts in it and stuff. And then re-released it. And that got a short theater run as well. Got big in Brazil, I believe, or Peru, because I get a lot of fan messages from there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And
That is
Mexico,
that is
yeah.
insane.
So a lot of people down there really liked it. And yeah, it turned out great, and they pulled it together. They redid the audio, they redid the score, um, remixed it, they recolor graded everything, and just kind of gave it the love it needed.
Right.
So fingers crossed that there's more opportunity to put that one in the future too, because that's a fun character to be.
Nice. Okay.
You know, that's one thing that had never occurred to me until we started doing this show, is how big films become in other countries
Hmm.
that are made here.
Yeah.
Like we had talked about, we had a guest on, and she was from, was it Nigeria?
No. She was from. Oh gosh, I know it, but she was talking.
Anyways, yeah.
She was talking about
Clint Eastwood
Clint Eastwood
movies,
and
yeah,
how
and
his
and
movies.
how huge they are in other countries.
Hmm.
And I'd never really thought about people that are making films here in America, and they go to other countries and become these huge, phenomenal things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have one that we did with 7th Street called Conjuring the Cult, and I just learned that it's massive in Turkey for some reason. In Turkey, everyone loves it. It's making all kinds of stupid money out there because they just love that film. But yeah, you never know. There's different countries like different things at whatever time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's pretty crazy. Is there more stuff in the works for Benny right now, or is everyone's just kind of watching everything play out and kind of
I,
deciding?
from what I understand, the director wants to do another one, and has some ideas for that. He's also working on another film script right now that we're going to go work on next month. But but Epic Films, as far as I know, and I haven't heard anything directly from them, but I believe that they're entertaining the possibility of a sequel, but still watching, making sure that it, makes enough money, that there's enough interest in it, because
Yeah.
you want to go where the money is, of course. So
Yeah.
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 And you said the director was Jeremy Rudd.
Rudd, Jeremy Rudd.
Yeah. So I think I reached out to him about coming on the podcast, and I think that's how I got wrapped into, um, sorry, CCC. What's that company?
Yeah, CCC Entertainment.
Yeah.
And that
That's
one,
how.
yeah, that's Aaron Carlson
Yeah. So I
over there.
think that's kind of how I got connected into all these other Facebook groups and
Okay.
stuff. So
Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense. It's all very close knit over here.
yeah. So, but yeah. So that's you're playing Benny the Scarecrow. You're playing Jason Voorhees and Darth Vader. You're just playing a whole bunch of these really big kind of either iconic characters or characters that are built to be iconic.
Yeah, I'm trying. And when we build characters, like when Naomi created the look for Benny, we spent a lot of time kind of going over it, like what's going to make him unique, what's going to make him different. And Naomi came up with a fantastic design, and it just didn't have that extra little bit yet for us. We were like, it's missing something. And that's where we came up with the nose missing, because it's like, oh, scarecrows, they have this like triangle nose, this red
Right.
nose. We just cut it off. And then that kind of tells you a story. Like there's something there that we don't know yet, but it's also unique. And when you see him, you always know that that's Benny from Diced because of that nose look. Um, and we do that with the other things too. My version of Jason is very identifiable, but still very respectful to the originals. In hashtag Party Massacre, we just did the smiley face killer or emoji killer. So it's an online killer who stalks a bunch of influencers. And when I was asked to create that, at first they were just like, "Oh, yes, do a gas mask and a jumpsuit." And I was like, "We've seen that. I want to do something memorable." And so I sculpted the yellow helmet with the glowing eyes and the big smile, and beat it all up and everything because I wanted to look, kind of resemble an emoji. And so it's like that kind of thing when we go through, and I put his whole jumpsuit in yellow because it looks great with blood. Um, but we kind of put that love into everything we do when we're creating those looks and vibes. Um, so yeah, and now I'm also Bigfoot in Lumberjack versus Bigfoot,
Oh,
Hey.
nice.
which is also another iconic monster
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tabor actually just did recently a short called Bigfoot Falls,
Yeah.
and we've got a Bigfoot in
Yeah.
there. It's actually his brother is playing Bigfoot because he's huge like you.
Yeah.
So he
he's,
fit the bill.
he's a tall guy.
Yeah, he fit the bill for what we needed. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
It was funny though. There was a scene where, because it's like an Amazon Bigfoot costume that we bought, and we shot around the costume to make it seem mysterious but not show off that it is a costume. And there's this one scene where my brother reaches out for one of the characters, and he's got this like Apple Watch on. It's
Oh,
like
no.
right under the sleeves, and so I had to color grade it out. And anytime you watch it, you never see that he has that watch on. So
Yeah.
I covered it up pretty well, but it was a fun time. Had fun making Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, it was a good time. And we got a guy out here. They found the best guy to make the Bigfoot costume. He makes them for commercials and a bunch
Oh,
of
nice.
things, and other movies that have been out. And we just filmed the opening because they were going to try to go crowdfund the rest of the money, but they end up stumbling across someone who wanted to invest. So now we're kind of proceeding with that. So we only shot the opening so far, and they didn't have the money to get the full face sculpted for my face yet. And so I wore a mask from a prior commercial with a Bigfoot that's all smiling and kind of silly and lighthearted and goofy. So we had to shoot around that. But
Yeah.
the rest of the suit was very menacing. He sculpted new hands for me and feet. But he does an amazing job. His name is Doug. And yeah, phenomenal work on his Bigfoot costume. So I'm really excited to see what he comes up with, the sculpted, angry, mean looking Bigfoot mask that he's
Right.
gonna make
So
special.
that's pretty cool. You guys had a Bigfoot costume made. You didn't just run down to Walmart and pull it off the shelf.
No, it's very expensive. Like basically they rented it from him from the commercial version. So we had to be very careful to not get it dirty, not get blood on it, because it's a very, very expensive suit.
Jeez. So, do you like playing the monster more, or do you like being behind the camera more? Which do you prefer?
Oh man, I love playing the monster. Something about it, I just really love it. Makes me happy every time, and I'll go those long hours suffering in a suit in the heat or the cold or whatever, because it's my thing. Um, but it's hard because I love being behind the camera as well.
Right.
I love the creativity of that, the problem solving behind the camera, and doing the special effects. It's I don't know, the whole process is just I love creating. So
Yeah.
One of the things I was curious about, since you've been an actor for a long time and you're directing also, I was wondering, as a director, do you find relating to the actors and getting what you need from them, do you find it easier for you since you are also an actor? Or is it just,
yeah, I think for me, I find it easier to direct than act, especially when I get speaking roles. I get very critical of myself, and I watch myself later. I'm like, oh, I can't even take my own advice. Like, why would I? So I liken it to someone who knows how to drive a race car, but they don't know how to build it.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like you could be a great race car driver, but not be a mechanic. So I think I have a very good eye, and I love body language. And when I'm watching a performance, I feel like I can see what might need changed or improved or something like that. But if I'm doing it in the moment, I'll get inside my head, and I'll struggle,
Hmm.
you know. So, but what I really love is when you have collaborative actors and they come in and they own that character and they know what they're going to bring to it. And so I always tell my actors that, the script is just the spirit of what needs to be said. It's not the letter of the law. Make it your own. And if you can bring something to this, please, by all means, do. I'm not
Right.
going to, not that person's going to be like, wait, no, the word was there, not over there, So I don't get caught up on that kind of thing.
right?
And if there's something that I feel is necessary, like, oh no, we have to say this word or this phrase because it gets repeated later on, or it connects to something, we have to make sure this information is out, then I'll say that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm like, no, just please make it your own and make it real and be the character, own it.
Yeah. That's how I do all my dialogue. I write just kind of like the skeletons of what the dialogue needs to be, and then I let the actors just run with it and let them do their own thing, because they're going to know what sounds natural to them. And,
Yeah.
you know, you got to trust them. Let them do their thing.
Yeah, they're
We
good at what
actually-
they do.
Yeah.
We actually had one of your actors on, Tristan Noakes.
Tristan, no, yeah.
He was on the show. I think probably right after Death of Snow White came out. I think.
Was it before, after it came out, or before it came out? I thought that maybe we were trying to like preempt the release. I don't remember exactly when.
We don't know.
I
but anyway,
At some point.
we had him on.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. I loved getting to talk to him, but he had kind of reiterated what you're talking about right now. Is he really appreciated how collaborative it was on the set, and how you guys could just talk through things. He liked being able to do that. It was helpful. So
No, I love that too, because I'm very much a collaborator, and I'm one of those guys that if anyone on set has an idea or a thought or something, I want to hear it, because I might be focused on a performance, or I might be focused on a technical thing that we're filming, or making sure that this special effect happens at the right timing with this, and that the blood is seen in the shot and all this. And then
right.
someone else might be like, what if you backlight this all of a sudden, or change, and it's like, oh, that's brilliant. Or if a line isn't working, we've had PAs or a cook or someone who, we had a family member who just visiting set once had, a great idea. So I'm always open to that, because I'm not so egotistical that I think I have all the answers, and that I know everything, and that I know better than everyone, because everyone has different experiences, and
Yeah.
people have good ideas.
Yeah.
So why would
Well,
why did I throw that away?
I think it's easy to kind of, when you're working on a project, to kind of get tunneled into this one thing. And you're not looking at, sometimes you're just not realizing everything that's going on. And somebody else is standing back watching the shot. Yeah, taking another idea is a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've told other directors too, who have been frustrated with people who give input once in a while, and they're like, I'm the director, and how dare they like belittle me and think that I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, dude, you're a director. You have an AD, you've got a second AD, you've got a DP, you've got all these people. They're tools to get your film in. And having somebody with an idea, or an actor who has an idea, or an actor who helps coach another actor, that is a tool that you can use, and you can be a good director by allowing that actor to coach this one, because they're able to receive the advice better or something. So don't let your ego get in the way of making a good film,
Right.
or making a good decision.
So are you working on some stuff, or do you have some things that are going to be coming out that you're able to kind of talk about, or let us know what's going on?
Yeah, I got quite a few things. Lumberjacks versus Bigfoot is one of them. That one, I'm not sure when it'll be coming out, but it looks like we'll be picking up production again. We just got done doing Ouija Hell House with 7th Street. Trailer just dropped for that, or a teaser did. And that will be coming out later this year. There's one called Phobia that we're working on, and it's with people that made like Tremors, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Blob.
Okay.
Tremors.
Yeah. And so I'm working on that with them, and we don't know the timing of filming yet, but that's going to be a fun one. There's a ton. Hopefully Cody gets Middle Kingdom going.
Yeah.
But then my big one is called Lost Boy. So there's a writer named Carl. I'm going to butcher his last name. Carl Bleasner, I believe. I was saying Bleisner, but Carl Bleasner, who came to me with this story, and it's a fantastic story. So asked me to direct, and we're producing, and that's going to be a bigger than Snow White. But we're in the pre-production of that, and hopefully film that towards the end of the year. So there's a teaser trailer for that one out right now too, on all my socials.
Nice. I'm typing all these up because I'm gonna look them all up after.
Yeah, Lost Boy.
Lost Boy.
Well, where can people go to find what you're doing and stuff that you've got out there and stuff?
Yeah, most of it will be on the realfictionstudios.com website. We try to keep that updated. There's the Real Fiction Studios Instagram, Facebook page, or my personal one, the Jason Brooks Official. It'll all be on there as well. YouTube is also Real Fiction Studios, and that's where the trailers are and behind the scenes stuff, things like that. The
Nice.
Friday the 13th films are on there. You can watch those for free.
Okay. Wonderful.
So I had a bunch of questions here that I was going to kind of rapid fire at you, but you've already answered a ton of them. So I don't need to ask you again. But there's a couple here I'm kind of curious about.
Sure.
What is the weirdest or most unexpected thing that happened during a production? Just kind of some kind of bizarre thing while you were producing.
Oh my gosh. So many.
There's too many.
Oh, there's a lot. The first one that comes to mind was in Diced. I had the full Benny makeup on. I was doing a kill. We were filming in an Airbnb, and the power kept going out because of the equipment. And so the homeowner who lived on site kept having to turn it back on, and she was not happy. She thought it was going to be a tiny, small production. So she stormed into the kitchen one night, blasted the door open, started yelling at everyone while I'm sitting on the floor in full Benny Scarecrow makeup, holding intestines in my hand, pulling them out of the guy's stomach, and just like being yelled at by this woman.
Right.
So that was pretty strange.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Nice.
I love that. Yeah. That made me think of another question, and then I lost it. So ask more questions, and hopefully that'll come back to me.
Yeah.
So far in your filming career, what do you kind of feel has been the most pivotal moment in your directing career? Or it could be your acting career. I mean, we have moments that kind of come along that's like, oh, wow, that really changed the direction of, where I'm going with things. Do you have something that really stands out?
There's a few things. I have little steps along the way that I think that have kind of guided me. Being able to work with all those, legends from Friday the 13th, just being in the room with them, staying at their houses, and it kind of immediately put me in this place of like, oh, this is not unachievable. This is something we can do. Completing the Death of Snow White against all odds. We should never have been able to complete that movie or make it with the money that was there. And I always say that we were able to make the movie because we didn't know we couldn't. And we just did it. It's very expensive to make a period piece, especially medieval, with as many characters as we have. You have to get all the costumes, and every costume is a shirt, pants, belt, accessories, boots. You can't just go to the thrift store and grab that.
Right.
You have to create the castle. You have to create everything. And by surrounding yourself with amazing, talented people who are there to support you, we were able to pull this off. So I think being able to accomplish that is like, okay, if we can do that, then imagine what we could do once we really get, proper budgets to do it, everything really well the right way. So I think being able to finish The Death of Snow White was a big one. And sitting in the Regal cinemas during the run, I think Naomi and I just
with the reactions,
with people who you don't know, they're not your friends and family coming to watch it. They bought a ticket from the theater to come watch the movie, and they don't know that you're there. They don't know you're the director sitting there watching the movie. Right. So I think that might be the biggest one, is Naomi and I sitting in the theater, seeing the logo, seeing the movie start to play, seeing it all, and being like, wow, we just did something. It was a lot. Everyone's work is now there, and here it is.
It's tangible. It exists.
Yeah. Right. And it's not something like, we make a lot of shorts throughout the years. You make a lot of things that you put on YouTube, and it's like you share with your friends on social media. And to actually have something that you get fan mail from Peru and Brazil and Germany and the Netherlands, and I'm getting all these messages from people all over the world, and it's like they saw what we did.
Yeah,
and they liked it.
That would be exciting.
Yeah.
To get this information, what people are sending you stuff, that would be cool.
Yeah, very much.
You also getting emails from other filmmakers who've seen your stuff and are like, hey, I want to work with you. I want to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've got several that have reached out, and that's kind of how I got the Lost Boy thing was um, Carl met me at Crypticon, and he saw me there, and we talked a little bit, and so he reached out because he liked our work and everything. Um, and there's been a few other producers, attorneys, and that sort of thing reaching out saying, "Hey, I represent this client who likes your work. They want to know if you want to work on their thing." Um, and yeah, uh, I just when the work
Yeah.
kind of speaks for itself. We just Green River Killer was another one that's coming out. We just did that with Johnny Tabor, who's a director, and it had David Arquette starring in that lead role with Vincent Kartheiser from Mad Men, and it was like a star-studded cast: Nick Stahl, Terminator 3, Rainey Qualley,
Nice.
uh, just a ton of people, and we got to do the makeup and special effects. I got a small part in that, and it was an amazing experience with an amazing group of people there. And to be the makeup and effects team and have everyone there, writer, director, producers, like, oh, we are never going to make a film without you again. You guys are amazing. It's like so validating when you work so hard for this, in the film industry. It's really validating to kind of get that feedback.
Right.
And it's great that they want to invite you back.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of filmmakers' work comes from, is the people they meet and the people that bring them back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So one of the things that you had said from one of the questions was that going and meeting people and going to their homes and doing these types of things, it's these connections at the time, they seem like little things, but these connections turn into big things. They can be huge pivotal moments in our lives. Just like right now, this podcast that we're doing, we have connected with a lot of people, and we're connecting with you right now.
Yeah.
And so it's those connections that turn into these great big opportunities.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, sometimes I pinch myself a little bit and talk to Naomi like, one example, going back to the other question of weird things, but I was driving home from work one day and I got a text from Richie Ramone who said, "Hey man, we're in the studio right now. We just kind of like recorded some stuff. Do you want to hear it and let me know your thoughts?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, it's not released. It's not mixed down, so don't judge it." But he gave me his raw files to go listen to tell him what I think. And then he
Oh,
was like,
wow.
can I write a song for your movie?" I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I'll write
that's
you. So he
incredible.
wrote a couple
Yeah.
songs. And so in Vengeance 2, there's a couple of Richie Ramone songs in there. But I'm like, Richie Ramone from the freaking Ramones
Right.
just text me out of nowhere saying, "Hey, brother, do you want to hear my music that's not released?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and you're thinking, how does this guy know about me?
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
yeah. It's like it doesn't make any sense. And then Darcy DeMoss is another one. She's a sweetheart, sweetest person, and she lives down there in LA. And she'll message me every once in a while. And Naomi and oh, miss you guys, love you guys, hope you're doing well, thinking about you. And um, it's just Tom McLaughlin. Literally, I was texting him before this call. Um, you get these people in your lives who just become your friends when you used to like idolize them and
Yeah.
up to
Right.
them, think, one day I might be like them and do something like them. And now they're a part of my life. And it's so bizarre.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool.
You want to talk about 259 a little bit before we head out
Yes,
of
I
here?
do.
All right.
Yeah. Did
So
you
let's
guys
talk
get to go
about
to the
that one.
premiere?
We did. Well, I did. I went to the premiere. He
Yeah.
was going to go and then got sick like right as he was walking out the door.
Yeah, yeah. I got sick that day and couldn't make it.
But I was there.
Nice.
But what I did is I bought the link to it so that I can watch it.
Nice.
So I just got to watch it still.
I
Yeah.
can't remember. Were you there that night, or were you
At the
guys
premiere?
Yeah.
No, we were filming. We had another gig we were doing. So I wasn't able to make it the drive out there. But yeah, I still have to watch the newest version. I don't know if it's the same as the last one I saw, but I've seen it a few times.
Yeah.
Just I haven't seen the new link. But yeah, that one, fun movie by Cody Newton,
Yeah.
and based on a true story, and then it goes off the rails into this amazing story about these teenagers who,
Yeah.
are dealing with possession and demons and things like that. So very kind of Stranger Things meets the Goonies, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah. I
That's
get that
probably that's
vibe.
a good description. Yeah.
And
so.
of
Yeah,
course, you
I
played
play
the
the
monster.
I play the demon. I play the demon in that, and then we did Naomi and I did all the makeup, special effects,
Yeah.
all. So whenever you see all that kind of thing, that's us too.
Yeah.
Now you keep mentioning Naomi.
Yeah.
What? Hold on one second. Let me. Uh, you have co-founded Real Fiction Studios
Yes.
along with Naomi.
Yep.
So, Real Fiction Studios, is that just strictly like special effects or makeup or those types of things?
It started 20 years ago when I was doing graphic design, web work, and all that. I needed kind of a name for my business, so I started that. And then I would just apply it to whatever I was doing. And when I was working in the films, or like, okay, I'm doing the props, Real Fiction Studios. And then when I made my films, I just said, okay, that's my production company, Real Fiction
Yeah.
Studios. It's just
Yeah.
kind of my thing. But then when I worked on Vengeance 2, Bloodlines, Naomi, that's where I met Naomi. And Naomi was a makeup artist. So, and was fantastic. And we met on that site, our set. And after we're done filming, we end up working together on a couple other things. And I was like, I'm having a lot of fun working with you. And we end up dating after, we caught feelings. So we started dating. I finally was like, do you want to just like go in on this thing full time and turn it into like an effects studio? And then was like, well, yeah, that'd be fantastic. So we decided at that point, because also Michelle Munoz, I always say that wrong. One of she's my best friend, and I always get it wrong. But Michelle is was part of that too, and so we all just kind of got together and said, let's start it. And the idea behind it would be to collaborate with other makeup artists and special effects people in the area. And rather than trying to fight each other for the jobs, let's just all create the hub where we can all work together on things,
Oh, yeah.
and we can learn from each other because everyone has different skills and abilities. And in that way, if one of our people are on a project and it's like, can you do this? And they're like, yeah, we can. And they'll come back, how do I do this? Help me. So we help each other so that we can do that and divide and conquer, and we all grow together.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
it's still my production studio too. So when we do a movie, we produce from that as well. So we have Real Fiction Studios and Real Fiction Studios Effects.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We don't have rat's nest effects yet. We're getting there.
Yeah.
but I love practical effects. CGI is very cost effective, but I'm just always a huge fan of practical effects and stuff that you can actually touch and see. And I'm a huge fan of The Thing.
Oh, it's amazing.
And was disappointed when they got rid of the practical effects in The Thing 2011. So,
Yep.
yeah, I'm always a fan of
Aren't they
that.
remaking that? The Thing?
I don't know. You sent me something about it.
Was that real?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to look.
We'll have to look at it.
What's really funny is I get texts from at least 20 people, not at the same time, but sporadically,
Sure.
where they send me stuff and they're like, "Hey, you're the movie guy. Is this real?" You don't have to be like, "Nope, no, that's AI. That's not real.
Right.
No, that's just spam. Somebody made that up. That's not real." And so I get those texts all the time.
That's funny.
Alrighty.
Did you remember your question?
Nope, it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got one more for you.
Yeah.
So, the future of filmmaking, and probably specifically indie filmmaking, we've noticed. I never really realized how much indie films I have seen until I started doing this and found out, oh, those are indie films. I didn't even know that. It's just a film I'm watching, right? But now we're kind of finding a lot of people all over the country we're connecting with that are making indie films and stuff. And what do you feel about indie film as far as the future goes? What do you with the technology coming out, the cameras, everything? What do you think? What do you see indie film doing?
I My guess and my hope is that there will be a big explosion, and that even the studios are going to see that their current models of spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a film doesn't work anymore. People are smarter. People want different things nowadays. It used to be that Marvel movies were all the rage and everyone wanted, but I'm hearing more like, not that Marvel garbage, and it's like, I still enjoy them. I don't know. I enjoy a lot of stuff, but yeah, I hear a lot of pushback now for big budget things and instant hate for a lot of stories and projects before they're even out. So I think there's going to be an uprising of indie film at various budget levels, of
Right.
course, especially as they're starting to win more awards, be nominated for more, Oscars and that sort of thing. And I'm hoping, and I assume that some big studio one day is going to wake up and go, instead of spending $250 million on one film, what if we spend 200 million on 200 films, or 20 films,
Right.
and then they can get this long tail of, opportunity and get some original storytellers who, can tell stories in a way that we haven't seen, and
Right.
to take chances and are not kind of handcuffed and leashed by production companies and studios that are
Right.
like nervous, like, well, that's not going to appeal to the widest audience for that. It's like, well, but that'll get us the attention and
Right.
that'll help. And so
Once
I
they
think,
start looking at it as art rather than
yes,
an investment,
yeah. And
that's
we've
when
seen a
it'll
lot of
change.
cases of that where, speaking of art, Terrifier, where they took some risks and they're becoming huge and it's making more money than some big, Hollywood produced films.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that every film has to be super gory and over the
Yeah.
top or anything like that, but there's a lot of indie films coming out that I think are doing really well and take chances that haven't been taken before. So I think that at some point, one studio at least will recognize that and say, let's give money to a bunch of indie films. Let's see
Yeah.
what we could do with that instead of one. And then out of all 20 films, something might blow up, multiple might blow up, and then they'll see that that is also a potential business model. And other ones might follow suit.
It's like grabbing a handful of darts and throwing it at the dartboard.
Exactly.
One of them will stick.
Right.
Yep.
Rather than taking a big giant dart that you spent $1 million on and then
And then the weight of it just falls before it hits the board.
it doesn't even hit the board at all. So
Yeah.
Right.
you spent all this money on a giant dart and it didn't even work.
Right.
So that's my hope and my assumption of where it'll go.
Yeah. Speaking of Terrifier, we're gonna do a Terrifier reaction video for the for the channel. No, I'm just kidding. No, I won't do that to you. But yeah.
Well, Jason, you have anything else you want to add, or anything else?
I not that I can think of. I know that once I, get off this, I'll be like, oh,
I wish I would have said.
I know.
I should have mentioned these people, this project, this thing, because we have
all
so
these
many going on.
all these questions are going to pop in my head as soon as I hit the shut off button. I'm going to go, why didn't I ask him that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just had him. Yeah.
exactly. Like 259 is one of those. If you didn't bring it up, it's was at the, forefront of my mind when we started, but then as we went on,
Yeah.
my brain went other directions.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought
Glad
that
I
one back
brought
up.
it back up.
Yeah.
Well, so My Dad's Movie Podcast, we have Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And I'd like to be able to, if it's okay with you, kind of tag some stuff that you're doing or movies that you're or information about you or stuff like that to put those in there if that's okay with you.
Oh, absolutely. Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send us a link of what you want us to show. And then we'll try not to show anything you don't want us to show, just in case, stuff is top secret. And
Yeah,
Okay.
don't send top secret stuff.
No.
yeah.
I've signed enough NDAs to know better.
Yeah.
Right. But you're doing good work. I like the stories that you're putting together. I'm kind of excited to the stuff that you're talking about right now. I think is going to be really cool when it comes out. And so keep me updated and informed about what's happening. So, but yeah, I think you guys, I think you're doing some good movies. So that's cool.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Absolutely. All right, we ready to head on out of here?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
And we're gone.
All right, see you later.
There it is.
There it is.
Hey, thank you for being on. I really appreciate you coming on and taking time. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to My Dad's Movie Podcast. We would like to offer a shout out to our very first ever oldest son tier patron, Jared Lauder.
Thanks for listening to My Dad's Movie Podcast. We had a lot of fun creating it, and we hope you enjoyed it.
For more content, please check us out at Facebook and YouTube at My Dad's Movie Podcast, or visit our website, mydadsmoviepodcast.com.
And always, if you'd like to help support us, please check out our Patreon at My Dad's Movie Podcast.
Thanks for listening, everybody.